quick disclaimer, I know this is not going to be the best ragdoll physics, but it's good enough for now, and it's good enough that people who have been playing my game have stopped complaining. And if more people complain about it, I'll make it better. But for now, I think this is a good enough result for the ragdoll. And so, pretty much, that's what it is. And so they have some constraints. As you can see, it's not the most realistic thing in the world, but it's passable. And how I did this, well, firstly, I would really recommend watching a video. While you watch my video, I'll watch a video and we'll watch it again. I'm just kidding. I recommend checking this out, Intro to Constraints. It's an official video, and they'll walk you through how these things work. Yeah, so let's not hear somebody talk while I talk. And okay, anyways, back to my project. So here's how I did it. Here's my enemy. Am I even recording? Yes, I am. Okay. I don't do this very often. Units. Red Trooper. So here we have lots of red troopers, but they all share one physics asset, and it's this one here. And this is a UE4 skeleton, if I'm not mistaken. Might be a Miximo skeleton, but it doesn't really matter. If you come here to, instead of all bones, you go to bones with bodies, you see the ones that have physics bodies. And the important ones that I like to lock, see if you go here on constraints, I usually go to like the clavicle. I'll usually do this to various bones at the same time. So like the clavicle and the thighs, you see they're all locked on the twist, but they can swing. And so it looks very silly if he just falls like that. But as you saw in the game, it's a bit more believable. Oh yeah, once in a while he bugs out. That's normal. It is a game after all. What are games without bugs? And so on the calves as well. And then when it gets to the foot, I like to lock it a bit more. So my recommendation, if you have your character, humanoid character, is I would actually go to all the bones, and then I would lock all of them. Just lock all of them, and then slowly go through some of them, like go through the thighs, and just like you know, limit them, leave them, to limited, reduce this. I think it's actually by default at 45. Play with those numbers and then do the same for the clavicles, and then you can kind of mess around and see how you like it. And yeah, whatever. Ooh, error saving. Project corrupted. Your game is forever lost. And always, you know, don't just test it in the physics asset thing. Try to test it out in the real world, in the real game world. So that guy bugged out. Oh, there you go. And you know, it's one of those things. It's like, is it good enough where people are going to believe it? You know, I think for a top-down game, you don't really need perfection, and Another thing you need to do is go to the character blueprints themselves, and maybe this is particular to my project, but one thing I did need to do is override their mass in kilos, because I set it to something like 2,300, because or else he'll kind of just fly away, you know. And I'm almost forgetting the most important thing here is this function right here. Before that function, no, this is a function. Block only stat. Yeah, here we go. Stick to capsule ragdoll. So here actually let's go to this. This is the function. So we have the mesh, the character's mesh, and here I'll put set all bodies below simulate physics and include self in bone name. So if you go back to the Red Trooper, it's the root bone that is going to simulate physics, and set collision enabled for the mesh, because I'm pretty sure by default it isn't. It's the capsule that has collision enabled. And after that, I also run this function for the capsule component to ignore everything, and then right after only block world static, so that the capsule itself doesn't block the mesh, so that the mesh doesn't get stuck on the capsule. And since this guy isn't, he's not going to come back to life, so I do not need him to come back to the capsule. If this was your character, your main character that you play as, you might want to approach this differently. But yeah, that's how I do it, and all this spaghetti stuff. What else? Simulate physics? No, this is other stuff. It's like the gun will fall off his hands, blah blah blah. And yeah, that is how I do it with this messy bunch of blueprint nodes. I'm pretty sure that's it. Let's make sure I'm not forgetting anything here. Yeah, that is it. That is how I did it. I managed not to burp while recording this video, despite the urge.